Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage Maps and Miscellany pack. So this came out alongside of the Dungeon of the Mad Mage Adventure, and basically this is exactly what it says it is. It's supposed to be a map pack, as well as a few other things. I remember when it was first announced, it seemed like it was only going to contain maps, so I'm kind of interested to see what else is in there. Given the fact that there's not a lot of artwork in the Dungeon of the Mad Mage book, I'm hoping that there are some visual aids in here, although I don't necessarily, think it's 100%, essential, but it would be kind of nice. So we'll have a look and see what's inside. The cover art is the exact same as the art for the Dungeon of the Mad Mage book itself, with Halaster, a Mind Flayer, Drow, Githyanki, and a Beholder Death Tyrant, I think is what they call it, the undead ones, in the background. So that's pretty cool there. So here it says, Descend into Undermountain. This accessory contains resources that Dungeon Masters can use to enhance the experience of running Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage, a separately sold Dungeons & Dragons hardcover adventure. Contained within this durable folder are 16 cardstock sheets designed for use with dry erase markers. Ooh, okay. Printed on the sheets, you'll find the following resources to help you run Dungeon of the Mad Mage. 23 maps, each one representing a different level of the dungeon. 3 maps of the subterranean town of Skullport. 18 perforated secrets cards, which were in the back of the book there as well, and 9 perforated Elder Runes cards. So it seems pretty cool. The retail price for this is $24.95 US and $33.95 Canadian. By the looks of it, it seems like it's going to be a pretty decent value for that amount. So, and as you can see here, it looks like it does come in its own folder, which is nice. So let's just go ahead and get this open here, and we can have a look and see what we've got. I just don't want to scratch anything here. See if I can get that. Alright, get the plastic off. I will say, first of all, I like the fact that this actually comes in a folder and not just a paper sleeve, so that's immediately quite handy there. So let's just go ahead and have a look. Alright, so first things first, we'll just move this sort of out of the way. Whoop. Bunch seems to be, okay, there we go. They seem to be in there pretty stubbornly. Alright, so what we have here, we got the folder itself, and looks like on the flaps it actually gives you a breakdown of what's on each of the maps, which is pretty cool. A little quote there from Mert the Moneylender. So that's that. Now, this is honestly not exactly what I was expecting. I was honestly expecting it to be sort of like the fold-out poster map styles, but the fact that you can use dry erase markers on this might actually be kind of cool, because that way you can go through and check off essentially each room that the players have been in. If they want to know which ones they've explored, you can just sort of use this to keep track, which is something that can come in really handy. Now this one here has what looks like a little bit of a scratch in it maybe, but that's not, indicative of the product as a whole. So actually it might just be a little bit of gunk, because it looks like it comes right off. So, oh yeah, that doesn't seem like an issue. But again, that's just my copy, so I wouldn't hold that against, anything like that. So, so yeah, here we go. It does actually say which map it is, so you know which level that it is, which is useful. So we'll just kind of go through these quickly. Alright, so this is map number 3. In fact, what I'll do is just flip that over so I can put these in. So again, these are the maps that came in the book itself, but I will say I like the fact that it's something that you can have sort of separately, so that way you're not constantly flipping back and forth from whatever room or area that you're in the dungeon to try to go back to the map. So I like that quite a bit, actually. I think that's pretty cool to have. And yeah, I mean, and again, these maps very, very much feel like, the old school maps that you would see in modules from back in the AD&D days. And honestly, it really feels like Dungeon the Mad Mage is sort of designed to, I don't want to say capitalize, that might be the wrong word, but to, I guess, tickle the nostalgia, muscle in you or something. I don't have a really good analogy. It's almost midnight at the time that I'm recording this, so I'm probably not having my faculties 100% about me. But again, just really cool to have. And yeah, these are actually nice and laminated, so a lot of times when it comes to the poster maps, durability can be an issue. I've got some maps from back in the 3rd edition days that got pretty worn to the point where they're almost ready to fall apart. So I try not to use them too much because I'm afraid that they're just gonna rip or tear one of these days. So these feel a lot more durable than that. I don't want to try like ripping them or anything. I'm not going to be that foolish, but it is pretty cool. Alright, I think we're getting towards the end here. This is map 17. Sea Depths and Van Rakdoom. Now, at the time that I'm recording this, I still haven't had much of an opportunity to read further into the Dungeon of the Mad Mage book. But so far, my opinions of it are pretty much the same. I think it's, hands down, probably the best thing that Wizards of the Coast has put out this year. And even if I don't run the full adventure, I am looking forward to cherry picking some of the levels and turning them into adventures in of themselves. So I like that aspect of it. We got map number 22. So this should be, I believe, the last. This should be the last level here. The Mad Wizards level, level 23. We got Hallister's Tower. And then on the back, we have, looks like Skullport. Yeah, Skull Island, okay. So that's pretty cool there. Alright, and Skullport. And actually, I like this as well. So you got like the last map for Skullport there, but it also gives you the dungeon key as well. So again, this is something that I think is really useful, especially for beginner DMs who may not be familiar with designing their own maps. So yeah, I think that this is actually pretty cool overall. And here we have our perforated rune cards, it looks like. And on the back it just has the D&D logo, so I'm not sure if these are meant to be randomized or not. But it is still pretty cool, and I'll be honest, I haven't even really read too much into how these are actually acquired or used. So, but it does seem like an interesting aspect to the adventure. I remember back in the 4th edition days, one of my favorite things that came out was the Shadowfell box set, and they had cards in there for the effects that can happen to you if you spend too much time there. So they were like despair effects, basically. You would sort of have the optimism and positivity drained out of you in that plane, and you would have to make saving throws basically at the end of each rest to try to overcome them, or maybe there were skill checks, I can't remember exactly now, but if you overcame them you actually got a bonus. So something tells me there's probably something along those lines. And here we have the secrets cards. And I guess these are just things to sort of perhaps advance plots. Again, I haven't really gotten that far into it. That's why the video that I did was a first impressions and not a review. But I think that these are pretty cool, and the backs are inverted from the Runes deck, which is cool. And then we just got the last sheet here. And again, these are perforated, so you can just sort of rip them. Hopefully they will tear quite easily. I would recommend if you do end up using these, the best thing to do would be to obviously bend it back and forth a few times and then go from there. But anyway, so that's that. Overall, it's a pretty cool product. I mean, I like this. The maps are all again very nice and clean and very easy to read and understand, and as someone who has D&D stuff going back all the way to 1974, seeing stuff like this is actually, you know, kind of cool and kind of nostalgic for me. So, you know, I like these maps. I like the fact that, you know, it's every single map, which is great. And this way, again, you can actually, you know, keep track of where the players are without flip-flopping back and forth in the books, which can always be a little bit of a hassle. So overall, pretty cool product. For $24.95 if you live in the US, or $33.95 Canadian, are you getting your money's worth? For me, I would say, especially if you're living in the States, $25 seems like a pretty fair price for essentially like 26 of these, like, you know, pretty decent quality laminated sheets. Like, again, just because there's a little bit of gunk on mine doesn't mean that that's how they all are. So I would say that this is, again, probably, if you can only afford two different things, or if you can only afford a book and one accessory this year, then I would honestly recommend getting Dungeon of the Mad Mage with the map pack, and maybe even leave it there, sort of thing. So again, I think that this is really, really cool. I like these maps, again, but for me it's a nostalgia thing. I understand that the maps are kind of a polarizing issue when it comes to these last two books, and I myself was on sort of the other side of the fence when it came to Waterdeep Dragon Heist and the maps contained in there. So I understand where some people are coming from, but personally, I like these. I think that these are great, and they remind me of going back and looking at, you know, Keep on the Borderlands, or In Search of the Unknown, Ghost Tower of Inverness. So there's a lot of nostalgia in here for me in the terms of the style. So I like it, I recommend it, and I think that if you are going to run Dungeon of the Mad Mage, or even if you just plan on cherry picking a fair number of the levels out of the book for your own adventures, this might be a good purchase for you, especially if you're going to run the whole thing. Like, if you're going to run the campaign as written, I'm not going to say that this is essential, but I think that this would be a very, very wise investment as well, just to make your life as a dungeon master a little bit easier. Anyway, so that's just sort of my review of this, my recommendation. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of these maps? Do you like the fact that they're laminated so you can use markers to keep track of stuff? Do you think that they're going to come in handy when running the adventure, or are these something that you feel like you can probably pass on? So let me know. I like them. I recommend them. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Take care.